one of my good friends was telling me the story about a time when he was talking with this girl and he was basically roasting himself, like hating on himself, but in a very joking, like lighthearted, fun way. So he'd be like, I'm just such an idiot, I'm such a loser, like all these things, but like totally joking and having fun with it. And this girl he was with was like, don't do that, like don't say that about yourself, not even in a joking way, because your subconscious is always listening to what you're saying and it's always taking it in. So don't even jokingly say those bad things about yourself. And my friend told me that he was like, I don't agree with her because he actually felt more confident. He felt better about himself. He felt happier when he was doing that, when he was hating on himself in that joking way. And he was like, why? Like, that's just kind of such an odd situation. I was like, the reason why that happened, why that was true for him, him hating on himself, actually saying those hating words, actually made him feel better and more confident, all of that, is because when it comes to communication, the message you are actually communicating to your subconscious or to someone else's, it has much less to do with the specific words you're saying and has everything to do with how you're actually communicating it. So because even though he was saying the words, I hate myself, I'm a loser, whatever, the actual message he was communicating to his brain was, I must not be a loser, I must be awesome and love myself and I must be super cool, because that's why I can jokingly say such hateful things and still have it such a joke and such a playful thing. If I actually hated myself and I was actually a horrible person that is worthless, then I wouldn't be able to joke about it in such a playful way. So the fact that I can joke about it means it must not be true. It means I must be good and I must love myself. So even though he was saying one thing with the words, the actual message he was communicating in all of these ways was something completely different. That's what we are going to teach you, how to master this skill of how you communicate what you are communicating. And this will give you so much power over every other strategy we've learned, because now when you're shifting or when you're choosing or doing anything else, you can do it in a way that actually communicates that with your subconscious as well as your soul level, so that everything can get on board and you can have full power. When it comes to communication, going back to the cells analogy, because cells is all about communication and what you're actually communicating compared to just what words you're saying. I was very blessed. Very, very blessed from God. Like, he carried me, all glory to him. It was not me, it was him. We gotta make that clear. But I was very blessed to sell pretty well. In just my first summer of selling pest control, so my first 4 months of selling pest control, I was able to make about $100,000 or maybe a little more in like the money that I actually made from it, which is amazing, such a blessing. So other than God, God's obviously number one, but other than God, the thing that I give the most credit to with my success was my ability to communicate, and not just like the things I was saying, but the way I was able to say the things I was saying. Kind of all of these things that go into how you communicate. Because I was trained by one of the best salesmen like in the country, like so good, makes so much money. And based on all of this information, I already learned a ton about how to communicate with your own brain, how to communicate with people, all of that stuff. And so I remember there would be people on my team that were selling a lot less than me. And I would listen to them sell. I would listen to their pitch and I'd be like, how am I selling so much more when our pitch sounds the exact same? We're saying pretty much the same words. Like, they might even have more phrases or lines that they can go to, or more creative ways of going around things. Like, they might even be better in some of those ways than I am, but I'm selling like a lot more than them. And the thing that I realized, and the thing that I put the vast majority of my focus on each day of like, I want to just crush it in this way. And like in my own personal success, there would be days where I'd sell 0 accounts or 1 account, and then the next day sell 13 accounts or 10 accounts. And the difference that I realized was it was all about my tonality and my physiology. Basically, it's all about how I spoke the words and the vibe I gave off when I was speaking the words. That's what it was all about, way more than just the words themselves. Because I'd say the exact same words both days, one day 0 sales, one day 13, because of the way I was saying them and the way I was carrying myself. So to show you the difference here, to give you an example, imagine I knock on your door and I'm pitching you, and compare these two. First one, knock, knock, knock. Hey, sorry to bother you. My name's David. I'll be really quick. I've just been helping like the Smiths, Jensens, a bunch of the neighbors. There's like a huge discount. That's why everyone's doing it. Compare that to knock, knock, knock. Hey, sorry to bother you. My name's David. I'll be really quick. So I've just been doing work for like the Smiths, the Jensens, like tons of the neighbors. Everyone's seeing like the spiders, ants, scorpions, all the bugs. Right now we have a huge discount. That's why everyone's doing it. Like completely different. Even though I'm saying the same words, it is completely different. The actual message that I'm communicating. And that's why the results would change so much depending on how I was communicating with my tonality and physiology. So tonality, the first one, it's more than just your actual tone. I just call it tonality, but it also includes like the tone of your voice, your inflections of, is there an uptone and downtone? Am I talking like this? Or am I talking like this? Or am I talking like this? Like so many different ways of tone and inflection. But also the speed you're talking. If I'm talking like this, it's going to be a very different message than if I'm talking like this. And the loudness, because with all of this, again, it's not just how you're talking physically, it's how you're talking in your own brain, how you're thinking in your own brain. So if in my brain or speaking, if I say it loud like this, it's going to be very different than if I say it like this. And also the way I pause or the way I kind of pronounce the word as far as if I go, it is a huge cell. That's different than it's a huge cell, right? So the way that you're saying things, there's so many different ways, right? And this is actually something that a lot of people I work with, clients, they've been like, David, when I'm talking to you, I just feel so empowered and I believe it and it's real and it's like I'm on fire and my fears are gone and it's awesome. But then I go to apply these strategies myself and it's like, I can't feel it and there's no power and it's just not working. I'm like, okay, well, show me how you are communicating. Like, show me how you're choosing and giving life to what you want. And they're like, okay, I'm so loved. I'm really free. I'm confident. I'm like, well, yeah, that's pretty weak. Like, that's not very powerful because again, subconscious indication, if I was actually believing it, if I was actually feeling it, how would I be using my voice to think about this thing? Right? Let me show you just one more example with your actual brain. So I'm going to give you like, I don't know, 5 or so examples. Compare, it's going to be the same words pretty much, but compare the different messages actually being communicated based on my tone. So the first one, I love talking to people. I'm my most fun, funny, social, confident self. That's one. Number 2, I love talking to people. I'm my most fun, funny, social, confident self. Number 3, I love talking to people. I'm my most fun, funny, social, confident self. Let's go. Or number 4, I love talking to people. I'm my most fun, funny, social, confident self. Right? Like, we'll just keep with those 4 examples. Those 4. Each one is so different with how it's communicating it. Like the actual message of what your subconscious is taking in, how it's being moved, even though it's the same words. And the first one, not good. The next 3 are all good, but they're still all different. And like we've talked about with your goal belief state, that's why it's so important to choose first, because you choose that and then you communicate accordingly. Because if it's like, okay, if I was just super grateful, if I was filled with gratitude, how would I be communicating? Oh, then, okay. And then you just let your brain actually give you the answer. Oh, okay, if I was so grateful right now, I'd be like, dang, like, I'm so loved. Like, I'm so loved. Like, that is so cool. That is such a blessing. I am so free socially. I love talking to people. I'm my most fun, funny, social, confident self. Like, that is amazing. I'm just so grateful for that. That is just so cool. Like, right? Or if I was just motivated, on fire, like I can run through a freaking wall. Be like, how would that be? What would that be like, right? You choose that reality, and then that's your goal belief state, and then you communicate accordingly. As if that's actually how it is, right? You treat it how you want it to become. Holy cow, I just love talking to everyone. I can talk to anyone. I'm so socially confident. I'm so free. Boom, like bring it on. Like, let's go. Ooh, I can talk to them. I'll talk to them. I'll talk to anyone, right? So it's all about your tonality. So before we go into physiology, just right now, in a second, pause the video and play around with it. Try different tones, different inflections, different speeds, different volumes, different ways you're saying each word. And just give it a try and see the changes it makes in your emotion. When you're not when you're needing to get an emotion from it, but when your whole goal is just what am I choosing and how am I communicating, and then just trusting the emotion you want will naturally come from it without you doing anything with the emotion itself. So go ahead, pause the video, come right back.